Hey guys, Filthy Robot here with Arumba, continuing our Civilization 5 playthrough using Sweden. I think we're going to talk about city settlement this time, yeah?
Yeah, we actually. I just want to mention it briefly because I thought it was really funny. We were rushing, right? We had to cut a couple episodes short because we thought we didn't have enough time earlier, and we accidentally recorded an extra one because somehow we got off on the rotation. Like, Filthy, you stole one of the intros, by the way. And so we didn't need to cut those episodes short. We were actually totally fine. We only needed to record 7, and instead we recorded 8. So we're.
I think worth mentioning too. We've been enjoying this enough that we're doing an extra recording session just because we both had time. We're like, yeah, let's continue on with this. I think that's pretty cool.
I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm really having fun. So I hope you guys are too. So yeah, right. City settles. So we've already talked about this one, right? We agree that this Barb tile is a great city.
All right, so let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about city settling. What are we aiming for with tradition settles? And tradition is going to be different than liberty, but it's going to be different than piety. But in general, we the easiest thing to think about is luxuries, right? Like we want to get luxuries resources inside 3 tiles of the cities. And we want this because luxuries are happiness, happiness allows growth, and luxuries are also something you can sell to the AI. That's the easy bet, right? We need to settle within certain tiles. You can almost think of that if you like mentally rotate the map or mentally draw 3 tiles out from each of these luxuries, a ring where you can settle. That's the easy part. You want to settle within 3 tiles of these luxuries. It's a little bit harder saying where exactly do you want to do that. And that, for tradition cities, you'd really prefer them on the river. Water mills are good, but just lots of growth for tradition cities are good. They're quite efficient at growing, and the only way they get any decent hammers is by growing. So once they've grown a lot, then they also have some production because you can actually work some production tiles after that. Ideally, we would settle cities that have circuses, which require either ivory in 3 tiles of the city or horses in 3 tiles of the cities, because a circus is 2 local happiness that you can only build if you have one of those resources that is improved within 3 tiles of your city.
So our
that would be nice too.
Capital doesn't have it, does it?
We moved away from strategic balance horses. You can see those horses over by the ivory. Those were the ones that were within our initial starting ring, or starting rings, but we moved away from them when we moved 2 turns.
Both of them are 1 tile off. That's sad.
Yep.
Oh, well.
And capital will eventually expand to that, but we won't be able to build a circus because it won't be.
I have an idea. Here's what we'll do. We're going to create a new circus with bison. Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic circus. There's no reason people won't go. They'll love it.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, so back to a more serious note. So we want to pick up luxury resources. Now, we already have a couple. Do we want to double up, or do we want to try to get the unique ones, or are both equally important?
We want unique ones in this game. Compared to Civ 6, the unique ones are a little bit more important. So doubling up is good. When we double up on resources, we can sell them to the AI. But in general, the way that happiness works in this game is each unique luxury you have gives you 4 global happiness. And it doesn't matter how many cities you have in Civilization 5. Each luxury that you have 1 copy of, if you have 2 copies of it, it's not going to give you more happiness. It's only ever going to be more happiness from 1. And yeah, you can get some trades in with the AI, but the AI is particularly fickle in the sense that they will often more you kind of, not randomly, there's stuff going into it, but you can't count on their happiness to remain constant throughout a game. So it makes it difficult to plan growth on. So if we look in our area, we have gems, we have silk, we have ivory, we have copper, we have gold, and we have sugar as the unique luxuries around us, I believe.
Yeah, there was 1 sugar over here. And then there's spices here and here, but these are too far away. But did you say spices was near us?
I think the spice is a little too far away. I see silk and gems as the other ones. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me actually think about that. Let's count that. So ivory, silk, gems, copper, gold, sugar. That's 6 luxuries on 4 cities. That is pretty decent. We want plenty of luxuries to grow on. I do a roughly 1-to-1 count with a little bit more in AI. So I want a little bit more than 1 luxury per city as tradition versus AI. If I'm playing against players, 1-to-1's a little bit more reasonable, but you get a little bit less happiness on Deity AI than you will playing versus players because you get less luck steals. So
okay, like I notice here it says Cotton Shoshone 3, so they have 3 instances of it. Would you ever trade to one of these guys? Like he's got 3. Would he give you a better deal because he's got excess, or no?
Well, you can see if you look on the right of EUI on the far side of the screen, you see how there's a copper icon or cotton icon next to Shoshone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that means he's willing to sell that. When the AI only have 1 of a luxury, they will sell it to you, but they'll sell it to you at a much more expensive. They sell it to you for 3 times the going rate when they only have 1 of a copy. So you could, for example, he only has cotton, so we could buy that. I don't want it now because I value our gold right now. But in general, you could pay probably 8 gold per turn, I think is the starting rate for that. So he wants 9 in iron, but remember, iron has no value. So essentially, he's ripping us off a little bit. He's not quite. If he was friendly with us, if he was a friend with us, he'd sell it to us for 8. So he's not quite friendly. You can get a sense of their standing with us based on that price.
Okay. So there doesn't seem to be like in Civ 6 we had like a slider, an opinion slider, just like with city states in Civ 5. We don't have that here. There's no actual.
Don't. And we actually get more information, I believe, with EUI than you do in the base game.
Oh, so, for sure. I mean, just looking at all this, I don't think that half of this stuff is on here.
Yeah, so my point being that even in the base game, you have even less information than we have here, which is not that much to begin with. So
okay, so does the 8 gold per turn, is that related to the era that you're in, or is that just fixed throughout the game?
It's fixed throughout the game, and the only thing that changes that value is your relationship with the Civ.
Okay. Okay, so what do you want to do next? Are we going to actually talk about specific settles, or should we just take a turn?
Well, let's take a turn, and then let's talk about specific settles, because we should get at least one turn.
Well, just one. One's good.
Yeah.
Public declaration from Persia. Ooh, a policy. Yay! All right, so these are really good. Probably that one, right?
Well,
no.
We have some options here. We're building settlers, so that 2 food, it likely will be either 1 hammer or 0 hammers right now in the capital.
Right.
Monarchy has immediate gold, and it will be happiness, which is quite nice. It's half our population. We'll probably, are we on an odd number or an even number right now? Are we on 5 pop?
5 pop, yeah.
When you have monarchy, every odd population doesn't count against your happiness. So we'll gain 3 happiness back with that.
Wait,
which is a lot.
Every odd pop doesn't count?
Doesn't count against your happiness with monarchy. Because monarchy, so if you click on monarchy, if you look at that social policy, and mouse over it, that one, you get -1 unhappiness for every 2 citizens in the capital. And it just so happens that the ones that count for that are the odd ones. Don't ask me why. I can't explain it.
Wait, so you're saying that citizen number 1
when
gives you negative unhappiness?
When you grow to pop 5, you that if you had 1 happiness and at population 4 in your capital, and your capital grew to population 5, you wouldn't lose the unhappiness. When you grow from population 5 to population 6, you'll lose 1 unhappiness. When you go from population 6 to population 7, you won't lose an unhappiness. That's how it calculates that.
Okay, the tricky part to this for me is this: you won't lose unhappiness. How about
you won't lose happiness? Is what I meant to say. If I
right, that's why I'm getting confused. Like, why can't we just have positive happiness? Double negatives, they're tricky.
Do I need to explain global versus local happiness, or are you comfortable with that concept?
I think global. I mean, we only have 1 city right now, so it's one and the same at the moment, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Okay, then you need to explain. I don't know what you're talking about. Then.
All right. So there's 2 types of happiness in Civilization 5. There are global and local happiness. Local happiness counteracts local unhappiness. Local unhappiness is caused by population. So in this city of 5 here, there are 5 local unhappiness costs. And if we had buildings that gave us local happiness, let's say we had 6, we could only ever gain 5 happiness from those buildings, because that's the maximum amount of local unhappiness in this city.
Okay.
And that's based on population.
Okay, I gotcha.
Okay.
That sounds hard to understand.
Global happiness is a slightly different thing. Global happiness will make up for local unhappiness, but it can't be the other way around. Local happiness can never make up for global unhappiness, although global happiness can make up for local unhappiness. So overall, global happiness is just better because it can be used in either circumstance, whereas local happiness cannot be used in either circumstance. You gain global unhappiness by settling cities. Each city is 3 global unhappiness. Oh. And the only way to gain global happiness is from luxuries, social policies, or wonders. So monarchy is giving us it's kind of given us global happiness, even though it doesn't say one way or the other, and because it's based on population, it's hard to think of it in those terms, because as you're growing, it's going to cause it anyways. But I believe, since it is a social policy, if we had 6, I mean, we could even test this in a future game. We can't test this right now because we don't have the buildings to do this. But if we were to build, if you built Colosseum, which is 2 local happiness, Zoo, which is 2 local happiness, and a stadium, which is 2 local happiness, and we had a 6-pop city, so that scenario will never happen in the wild. We'll never actually have that scenario happen. Then I'm pretty sure I'm 100% sure all the local unhappiness is treated by those 3 buildings. And I'm pretty sure the happiness you get from monarchy, you'd get then 3 global happiness that could be used anywhere. Pretty sure.
Interesting.
Okay, so that's probably made things harder and more confusing than are necessary, but it will matter a little bit. If you settle a lot of cities, global happiness becomes a very, very important policy, because that is actually what limits the number of cities you settle, is global happiness, not local happiness. Because sometimes you can get cities that essentially have zero footprint for the citizens. If you have like a happiness building, like a pagoda, which is a religious building, and you build coliseums, and you build circuses, and you build, you have, I don't know, like a city, a civ that has some sort of bonus, like Egypt, where the temple provides 2 happiness. That's 7 or 8 population that just doesn't count for unhappiness towards you at all. But you can't just spam cities, because the global unhappiness will count despite those buildings.
But if you spam cities, aren't you pretty likely to get lots of luxury resources just via spreading? I mean,
Sure. I mean,
this
is why luxuries are so important,
them.
is because those are the only thing that will treat global unhappiness.
How many luxury resources are there?
I don't know off the top of my head. Quite a few.
So there'd probably, I mean, just based on that, there would theoretically be an upper limit no matter what, just because there's only a certain number available.
Yep.
Okay.
And you will have problems with that. So anyways, not going to be a problem in this game, because we're only going 4 cities, but it's good to know. I would probably take monarchy here.
Okay.
And with the thought process that the happiness in gold is better right now than growth, that's not going to do anything for us. We might get 1 production out of that, which wouldn't be terrible, but I think it's less.
Plus, as soon as we're done with this, we're going straight to
if you notice,
2 more
we did
settlers,
gain
right?
3 happiness.
Yeah, we went from 2 to 5. So we are still going to go, 2 more settlers after this, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we might as well just queue those up so I don't forget, because oh, there's not a settler. No, don't right click. I'm not playing Endless Space or Endless Legend. All right, yeah, 7 turns apiece, not bad. Okay, all right, so we'll try to dive through some turns here. What we were doing here, we were trying to find, there was a worker, and we wanted to avoid his sight. If we go on that hill, we should be, no, we'll get caught. We have to stay off the hill.
We don't mind that being on the hill. I think, we have to, the position, but we need to get in position anyways, and the position we need to get to is 2 tiles northwest of the silver. That tile, yep. So to get there, we have to go one of these anyways. I mean, I guess if you're real worried about it, you could wait a turn. Yeah, so he's here. He'll see us. I think he'll run away, but we'll see next turn. I think he'll run back into the city center.
I'll remember to hopefully go there, pay attention to that before we end the turn. All right, gotta remember the keyboard shortcuts for this. You got me into the habit earlier today.
Good. He's finished. He's finished the improvement, so he doesn't. I would now move to the silk. What are we teching, by the way?
We're doing this one. I didn't forget. Look, it's the second play session, and I totally remember.
I like it. We have a worker that has movement left. What are we teching right now? Are we teching
masonry at the moment?
Okay, let's switch over. This is something we didn't think about. Let's grab calendar. So although I do want composite bowman and swordsman as soon as possible, I want to be able to improve our silk plantation, and that requires calendar tech.
Okay.
So let's grab that first, then
Now we haven't covered this, but I'm just going to assume that it saves all of your progress, right?
Yes,
so.
yes it does.
Now what happens if between now and when we go back to it, somebody else picks up the tech? Will the actual overall cost go down?
Yep. I don't know actually if we keep a percentage or we keep the total amount accrued. I think we keep the total amount accrued, not a percentage.
So in theory, we could test that by going up to like 55 and then just leaving it there.
Sure. You'll never get a free tech when that happens. So
why not?
Because I've never had that experience and I've played a lot of games. So I assume that means it probably is. Well, actually, that's interesting because it should reduce the total cost. Let's fucking try it. let's give it a shot.
I can't help. I mean, okay. This is a campaign where you're supposed to teach me how to play the game, but I can't help but try to figure things out. That's just the way my mind works.
Well, this is something you just...
It geeks me out.
When you play a game over and over and over again, you don't often think about these type of questions. These are things that are interesting to me, too. I'm curious now.
So we should probably go... well, this he's done now, too, so he can take care of that. Why don't we take this guy over to the stone? Or is there...
Let's chop the silk while we're there. Right. I mean, I guess, actually, we're not working the stone. The thing is, we don't have the tech to improve the stone. That's masonry, and we're not working the stone. So it's a little harder for that. So I do have a thought here, and that is, right now, can you show me... How many hammers do we lose? If we unwork the sheep, how many hammers do we lose? We go from 18 to what? 17. Well, so we're not... Yeah, but for the food, basically what we're getting from that transaction is we realize the food is giving us no value at all, right?
Right. Yep, I get you.
Right. So if we bought the iron, we would gain 1 hammer towards this, right?
Mm-hmm. So you're thinking about buying this now?
Yeah, that's why.
And then we could go improve that and take that up to 4. I like that a lot. That makes more sense than improving a tile we're not already working. And
then we could sell the iron, too.
The other thing you were thinking, though, was cutting the forest.
Yep.
And you mentioned that this was very interesting to me, that the closer a forest is to your city center, the more production you get.
Yes.
And I actually did experience that in my other little quick test session.
Yeah, there's two things that contribute to how much a forest gives you for production when you chop it. It's the distance from your city center and whether or not it's in your borders.
This is very close to this, though, so you get a
Yep.
new job, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. 2 hand axes. See, this is the only downside of this this thing right here is that it will be annoying. Those hand axes. Hand axes are dangerous, even to our spearmen.
No, his name is Fred. He's awesome.
You can rename him. Right click on spearman and change the name. This is an EUI thing. Fred Spearman it is.
Yeah, I like naming my I usually choose like silly names like Joe and just like really generic American names, but I don't know, it's fun. I think it's neat.
Cool.
All right, so okay, moving right along then. Oh no, what? Yeah, okay, he ran.
Yeah, good. So move 1 tile there. Yep.
And then just stay out of sight.
So what's gonna happen? Yep, his turn. We're gonna be gone. So he's gonna be like, I can go back and prove the silver, and then he's gonna move to the silver and be out of moves, and we're gonna steal him.
I think that's so cool that you taught me this, because I would probably have played dozens, if not 100 hours before realizing that he could see on top of hills. How did you first learn that?
Players. Like I was playing against other players, and I got told that or noticed that or something. So, all right. So this is slightly annoying. Okay, we have a lot of things. We have a lot of decisions to make this turn, and most of them are pretty reasonable. The first is that settler. He needs to go north. So we're going to deal with this hand axe, right? The hand axe, as it is right now, it's zona controlled, so it cannot get to our iron, which is the number 1 tile that I want to protect, right?
Yeah.
In all likelihood, the Barb AI here, if it's given a worker, it will sometimes steal the worker. Sometimes it will attack us. I would bait it with the worker. That would be my suggestion here. So here's the thought process, right? This Barbarian hand axe is going to be a pain. Right now, just slam it with the spearman. See the damage.
Well, we can project what it would be there. We can see the
Yeah,
numbers.
don't ever trust that. That's a lie. There's a variance built into that. I watched a TED Talk. Sid Meier was giving a TED Talk talking about his decisions with Civilization series. And for whatever fucking reason, he and his team and the teams that have built the various civilizations like RNG and these roles. So this, never ever trust this. This is bullshit. So this number may or may not happen, but there's variance. So sometimes it's more than this, and sometimes it's less than this.
You're telling me this now? That I've been relying on this thing for like every turn of every Civ 5 game I've ever played. Like I thought this thing was golden.
No, it's not in any way golden.
It's apparently bullshit. Okay, all right.
No,
Fair enough.
Go ahead and watch what happens.
Okay.
See what happens when you slide.
Can I just pose one thought here? One question. Our goal right now is to protect these workable tiles, and we want to make sure that this civilian, this builder, can upgrade the iron.
No,
you mentioned
to protect the improved tiles. We don't care about the builder yet right now. We don't want to lose the builder, but we don't care if he gets captured temporarily. What I want to do is I want to lure that hand axe, because that hand axe is so tanky. I want to lure him into range of the city so the city can shoot him. And I don't want to give him a chance to move onto our improved iron, because then he'll pillage the improved iron and get a heal off that, and it'll take longer to kill him. So what I want to do is wound him enough that, yeah, okay.
I see what you're saying. So if we, like, if I took my worker here and tried to upgrade this, he might go here and then move in to take that instead of going for the spearman.
Right.
Okay.
And I don't care if he attacks the spearman. We can heal through him. Although I'm a little concerned that there's a second hand axe down south. But we're not in a position where the barbs can trap us. So if we have to retreat, we can retreat. And remember, the AI cannot move and shoot in the base game. For whatever fucking reason, they can't do it. So even though the hand axe has the movement to move towards you and then attack you, he will never ever do that. He will either move or attack, but he will never do both.
Now, okay, so he has to be in position to make the attack.
Yes.
At the beginning of his turn. Okay. And that's with just barbs or all AI?
All AI, including Deity.
That is so restrictive.
Yep, their archers cannot move towards you and shoot.
That is really handy.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to posit my thought, what I was planning, and I understand now why it's wrong, but I just want to not, leave it hangling. Leave it hangling? Yeah, that's a word. Hanging. I was thinking just move the worker there and just improve through it and fortify, get 40% fortification bonus in the hills, and just tank it and let him get experience. But I can see why that wouldn't be a good idea if he goes for this one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the problem is he could go north. But the other problem is, although that is a long-term solution for this single barb, that camp will continue to produce more barbarians. And when, like, for example, let's say the next barb spawns, right? And now the hand axe in the camp is free to go north. Your spearman will not be able to handle 2 hand axes attacking into him. So at some point, we will need to kill this guy. And we might as well do it now before there's a mass of them that can actually push us off tiles we care about. So slam him once. Let's do that.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure Fred could handle 2. I mean, I'm just saying.
You have confidence in Fred. So if you look at the damage there, Spearman is already a stronger warrior, right? He's 11 compared to 8. And if you look at the damage, we didn't actually do all that much damage to him. And that's a ranged unit. So when he attacks us, we have no counterattack damage to him. I would be...
I remember, yeah, this has always been one of my complaints, is that there's like this notification log, but there's no combat log.
Yes, no combat.
So if you miss it, how do you parse what... like, if you have 20 units on the screen, how the hell do you know what's going on?
Experience?
Great, okay. New barrier to entry. Okay, so okay. Did it go better then or worse than projected? Looks like...
about what I expected.
Okay. Okay.
So we have a couple options here. We can bait him with the worker. We don't have to. He won't die to the city shot and a spearman slam next turn. We'd have to... It just isn't going to be quite enough damage.
How would we bait if we were to do that? Put him on the hill or...
No, you don't want to put him on the hill because Barbarian... That hand axe will get a defensive bonus for being on the hill. You want to leave him right where... If you want to bait him, you leave him right where you are.
Okay.
Because then what happens is... Next turn, he spends his turn and takes the worker. The turn after, he moves away in his zone of control. And then so you're going to get city shot and a slam next turn, followed by a slam the turn after to capture.
Gotcha.
To recapture.
So you don't like this idea, though? Or you are...
I'm concerned that we don't have enough damage to kill the hand axe before he gets the Barbarian, before he gets our worker back to the camp. I don't want to lose our guy in the camp. So...
Plan B?
We can try it next turn. Yeah, plan B. Put the worker on the iron, I think.
Here? He's
Other
safe
iron.
Here. Oh, all the way over
underneath there. Yeah, that's fine. Let's at least set up to improve that, even if we don't end up doing it.
Okay. Now, if he had even just a half movement point, he could actually get one task, one tick of it in, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's worth knowing. Just like, that is similar to Civ 6 with the build system. So, okay.
Yep.
Well, we'll come back tomorrow then, and we'll talk about the actual settler. Sorry for playing a little bit slower. I will admit, I'm causing it to happen right now. I'm asking a lot of questions, and it's our first episode in this session, so I tend to play a little bit slower when I get back into the swing of things. But we'll speed up as we go, so hopefully I can convince Filthy here to play all night long.
See you guys soon.
See you in a bit.